people, we're back again for another edition of the best Spurs 11 plus 5 substitutes, I might add, of your lifetime. And today we have got Perchy on to give his team. We're so excited about this. He's here. He's ready for it. How you doing, Perchy?
I'm great. And if people aren't liking and subscribing from that intro, what are we doing here? What an intro. Love it. I'm really excited for this. I've been excited for this. Let's do this.
Excellent, Perch. Mark, you okay, mate? The old the team picture man filling the names in. You okay there with that, Mark?
Yes, mate. Yes, mate. All is good. All is good. Great in life. All Brilliant. Is marvelous.
Well, we'll get the pitch up then, and then we'll start asking Perchy the big questions.
Let's do this.
Here we go. So, Perchy, we'll start off with your goalkeeper of your lifetime.
Goalkeeper for my lifetime at Tottenham, it's got to be Hugo Lloris. I think I was looking over thinking goalkeepers I think for me, consistently, I know it dipped off near the end of his career at Spurs, but consistently involved in one of the most successful Spurs teams. Successful, use it the term loosely, but in the term of what we achieved with him in goal, and was our club captain and was the captain of France. For me, it has to be Hugo Lloris that goes in goal for me.
That's a great choice, Perchy. Yeah. It seems quite popular at the moment, I've got to say.
He is popular.
Yeah, he's very popular. Great choice. We'll move on to your left back, Perchy, please.
Left back. See, this might be a little bit controversial in the sense of why I'm picking him. I'm being a bit creative with it, and I'll explain it why when I built the team, because I've done it quite tactically. I'm going left back, Jan Vertonghen. Okay. I know people would have gone Vertonghen centre half. It's to make sure I can get Jan in. For me, in the system I want to play, I think you can make it to set it out to end up in an attack. You've got a back three. I think Jan, what a football player. Centre half was brilliant. But look, who remembers that time against Dortmund when he played at left back? And for me, I thought he was the best player on the pitch. So for me, in the system that I'm trying to build, I think Jan Vertonghen left back would be brilliant.
Excellent choice again.
Fair choice, and he did play there. He did play there.
Yeah, he did play there. That's it. Yeah, good choice, mate. We'll move on to your, I don't know if you want to call it your left centre back. You want to go for that?
And my left centre back will be the Belgian partner in Toby Alderweireld, is slotting straight in next to him. I mean, them two as a partnership were phenomenal. They were absolutely outstanding for that period that we had him at Spurs. And for me, Toby goes literally perfectly into my system next to Jan Vertonghen. I think a lot of people surely will be putting Toby in there at some point.
Yeah, another great choice.
Right. Yeah, that's the two of the Belgian barrier in immediately.
Yeah, as well as his defending, though, Perch, his array of passing was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Honestly, he was something else, weren't he? You'd die for a Toby in your back line right now, wouldn't you? We talk about players in this era, but Toby would have been brilliant in this team. Yeah, being able to actually command at the back.
Yeah, absolutely agree. We'll move on to your right centre back, please, Perch.
Yeah, my right centre back. He came through our academy. Is he a legend of the football club? Is it? No. Ledley King. Ledley King is my next centre back. No, yeah, definitely. Ledley King comes in on my centre. Do I need to express how good this defender was? Let's be fair with it. I stand by it with Ledley King. Without his injuries, would have been one of the greatest centre backs this country's ever seen. It sounds like that's Tottenham bias, but we saw the level that Ledley King performed at whilst not training. I think people miss that. We see all about fitness and all this lot. This is a player that for a big part of his career never trained. He would turn up match day, not literally. That was considered it, and he was performing at a level that was unbelievable at that stage. And you kind of think, what would have been without his injuries? And I think I mean, it's crazy. I know I kindred at Sol Campbell. I think if I wasn't being as a little bit biased, he probably would have get in there because he was incredible. However much we do hate the guy for what he did, but thinking about it, Spurs at the time would have had a Ledley King. If things had changed and he didn't leave for Arsenal and he stayed with us, Sol Campbell, we could have had an era where we had Ledley King and Sol Campbell at Spurs and going, wow, that's and. But Ledley King, as I said, I stand by. I think we were. It sounds bad. I don't mean it. I think we were kind of lucky to an extent that Ledley King got his injury, because I think if Ledley King didn't get injured the way he did, I think he leaves for a Real Madrid, Barcelona. I think that caliber of team. I think I don't want that to sound to your viewers that like I'm happy that he got injured, because obviously not. But I think without those injuries, I think massive football clubs. I'm not just talking about the Man Uniteds, because at the time Man United were dominating. Real Madrid, the Barcelona's, even the likes of the AC Milans and stuff would at that time were absolutely massive, weren't they? With Maldini.
Yeah.
I thought it maybe it's the Spurs bias, but I genuinely thought Ledley King was going to be in that sort of realm if he didn't get those injuries. So Ledley King slots straight in there, definitely.
Ledley King was just in a way, he came through in an era with Rio and John Terry as well.
Yeah.
You know, so there was some massive centre backs. You know, great players,
like proper top centre halves and stuff. And I think it's a great point actually, because I think you think of nowadays, and we talk about now, and players like Christian Romero. I don't mean to sort of divulge it on that, but players like Romero get hyped and raved about now. Romero couldn't lace Ledley King's boots. No. Like, do you know what I mean? Like
any of them three that you've
picked. I agree. I think the standard of football's massively dropped, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But it just feels like when you look at the three players, the three defenders I picked, even Lloris, the four that we picked in there, are, I think, walk into our team at their peak by far right now.
Oh, easily.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it was a great pick again, Perch. We'll move on to your right back, please.
So my right back's coming in because I've put a real defensive left back in Jan Vertonghen, because then the right back is, at the time, watching this man grow in the Pochettino system, is Carl Walker.
Yeah.
And for me,
I was very nearly going to start typing this, but I thought, no.
Carl Walker, I think that is a back four in my 4-4-2. It offers opportunities in the attack. You then have an extra man going forward, a solid back three. Imagine we had a back three right now of Vertonghen, Alderweireld, and King. We wouldn't be conceding the goals we concede. So, and Carl Walker, with the abilities he can in the final third, he slots straight into my back four.
Yeah. Another great pick, Perchy. You're spot on. That back line looks pretty decent. That is. Pretty decent.
Oh, you'd love that. That's the best defense in the league if you had it right now. Do you know what I mean? By far.
Yeah. Great stuff, mate. All right, we'll move on to your midfield, Perch. We'll go from left to right. So we'll start off with your left midfielder, please.
My left midfielder is going to be Gareth Bale. He's slotting in, and I've allowed him to play on this left-hand side because do I need to explain how good this man was? Gareth Bale was not only an absolute stalwart for us when he broke into the scene, moved further forward, and credit, by the way, to Harry Redknapp for utilising that.
Yeah.
I think people don't give Harry Redknapp the credit that he deserves in times, because Redknapp identified a player, went, you're too good to be playing at left back. Your mate, he had that period. Bear in mind, let's remember when Gareth Bale first joined, there was that period of we were losing games when he was playing, and then Harry Redknapp. And do you know what? This is something that we don't see anymore, by the way. What Harry Redknapp did was, do you know what? There was this hoodoo. Whenever Bale was playing, Spurs never won. So what did he do? When we were 3-0 up, he subbed him on to get rid of that hoodoo.
Yeah.
And it sounds really silly now, but you don't see that anymore. It sounds stupid, but it's very good man management going, do you know what? I think you're a good player. This hoodoo that gets spouted about in the press, let's dispel it. You're coming on with 10 minutes to go. We're 3-0 up, game's done. We've won the game. We're thinking about next weekend. And it was very, very smart management from him. And what it let's be fair, it turned Gareth Bale into one of the best wingers in the world, if not the best winger in the world.
He made it.
Which turned Gareth Bale into one of those players when he went to Real Madrid. Bear in mind, we all knew, let's be fair, we all knew when Real Madrid came knocking for Gareth Bale, he was gone, weren't he?
World record fee as well, don't forget.
But he went for he broke the transfer record fee.
Yeah.
And I think having Gareth Bale in any side, by the way, I could have put any attacking position for Gareth Bale. I put him left wing just so it meant I can put him on that left. There's a few others I can squeeze in.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with Gareth Bale, he did his best stuff on when he played on. I know when he came back, he played on the right, but he was his best stuff in the Tottenham shirt was always down the left-hand side.
I think when he came back and played on the right, I think, do you know what that was? That was very sensible to put him on the right, because he didn't have that electric pace that he had when he was playing for us the first time. That electric, breathtaking pace when he, even though that era when he went immediately into Real Madrid. But what Gareth Bale was very good at was, do you know what? I'm not got the pace I had 10 years ago. I'll go on the right, I'll cut in, and I'll attack on the edge of the box. And some of the goals, I mean, remember the lockdown goal he scored? It was an absolute worldie. I've forgotten who it was against, because I feel like that whole lockdown era, I've forgotten a lot of it. But remember that he cut it in on that right hand side and just bent it top corner, and he went
banged it top bins.
The goal, weren't it? Like Gareth Bale, like what more can you say?
Brilliant, Perch. Great description of a great player. Fantastic. We move on from Gareth Bale. Your left central midfielder, Perch, if you want to call it that.
My left central midfielder was a player that is described as, by players, the best football player they've ever seen, in Moussa Dembele. I think
I was just about to type that in.
You could probably build my team. You know what I'm saying? No, but let's be fair with it. Moussa Dembele, I think, was massively underrated. I think at the time, I think some of us didn't necessarily, including myself, didn't really appreciate how good he was until you went and looked at other players that we then get in after and go, hang on, this fella was light years what he was good at. And I think he was very, very underrated in that level where you go, okay, but I thought he was brilliant for us. I think the one thing that will always taint it will go, did we let him go at that time when we probably shouldn't have done? I still thought it was right for him to go, but when we sold him in the January and we were on that road to the Champions League final, did we need to sell him? Did we need to? He was involved in a lot of the group stages, if I remember. Was it I want to say, I can't remember who it was. I want to say it was or maybe that was the year before. But he was involved on the same with the group stages and stuff. And then we got rid of him, and you kind of went, okay, if you're going to get rid of him, you surely got to go get someone else in. And we didn't really, did we?
No.
So
we got Sissoko.
Yeah. What? I mean, you've now picked my next one. No, I'm joking.
Oh, hang on.
He's not coming in. No, but I think in the system I'm going to build, you when this whole team build, you go, that is the perfect player and what we need in midfield.
Yeah.
None of this. He can play 6. He can play 8. He can play 10. Nah, Moussa Dembele was your box to box. Pick the ball up and went, go on, get that ball forward.
Yeah.
Fits in perfectly in my team.
1,000,000%.
Great choice, mate, again. So we'll move on to your centre-right midfielder, Perchy, please.
Next midfielder, I think this one picks itself, doesn't it? I think we all know who I'm going to... I think Mark's about to type already. It's got to be Luka Modric, surely.
I wasn't going to type that.
I thought, I'll be honest, Luka Modric, for me, was one of the best technical football players I've seen in Tottenham. Look, listen, as I said, I'm a bit younger than a few other people that you're going to get on there, but I watched Modric and went, wow. And do you know what tells a tale about how good Modric is? He's still playing at that level now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 39.
No,
39.
name me players at 39 are still controlling it. He scored an absolute worldie a few weeks back. Absolute worldie. And you go, this bloke could play for another 10 years. Like, he's one of those football players that you always hear about football players going, oh my God, but they're going to play on forever. I genuinely think Modric could play at the highest level for another 3 or 4 years. I know from what I've been told, he's going to this will be his final year. And do you know what? It says a lot about a football player like Luka Modric that if he does retire at the end of this season, he's retiring from Real Madrid and being. Yeah. And I think if I'm right in saying he's one of the most successful Real Madrid players ever. And don't quote me on it, but I'm sure I've read the stats that Luka Modric has won the most trophies at Real Madrid than any other football player. And it says it all. This bloke not only was a great player, captained the side. You have to have a level of quality understanding to captain a team like Real Madrid. Real Madrid is on a different ballpark. And I thought, yes, we lost him to Real Madrid, but do you know what? I'm kind of glad that he went to Real Madrid and we didn't then end up seeing him go to Chelsea, Man United, and go and like. I'm a bit gutted because like players like Michael Carrick couldn't get into my 11 there, but I look at it and go, players like Modric, you can't not have in your team. He's a special football player.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So a million percent.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Perch, we'll move on to your right-sided midfielder, please.
Right-sided midfielder. I mean, it has to be Heung-min Son slipping in. Yes, he doesn't normally play right, but I'm going to allow the conversation to go. Maybe I could alternate with Bale and Son, and they can play intertwine. But Heung-min Son's coming into my right-sided midfield in my 4-4-2. What can I say? Look, listen, I think he gets a lot of stick at the moment. And look, there's part of it that's probably credible and understanding to the sense. But on a whole at this club, he's been brilliant. He's been through loads and loads of different managers. He's scored a lot of goals. If I'm right in saying he's now, what is he, 4th in the all-time goal scorers for Spurs? Yeah. So he, whatever we think of him right this second, and listen, I do hope he doesn't overstay his welcome. Sounds wrong because I don't listen. A player like that should be allowed to have as much of time, but I do think maybe the time is up for him now. But let's be fair, he's been brilliant for Tottenham, scoring loads of goals. That connection he had with Harry Kane up top, I thought you go, wow, like this guy. I think do you know when under Poch he was brilliant? Do you know when I watched him under Jose was actually one of the ones where I went, Jose Mourinho, whatever people's opinions of Jose was, the one thing what Jose did, he clearly pulled over Son and Kane and went, you two are my main men. I will build this system around you two. Forget about everything else. You two find a way. We will link you two together. And the pair of them collectively scored so many goals together under the Jose system, which you went, that was a smart thing. Forget about the crap players that we had at that time when we lost a lot of players and we had the likes of Eric Dyer playing here and there. But he found a way to get Kane and Son to score loads of goals, and it showed the qualities of them too, and him as well, of course.
Yeah, I think Sonny is obviously getting a bit of grief at the moment, but I think it's only because, the player he was.
Yeah.
He's not quite that anymore.
I think it's Mark, it's great point, because I think we talk about, and I think, listen, it's not a bad thing. I think it actually shows a level of respect, actually, that he gets a bit of criticism, because actually, I don't criticize rubbish players because I go, you're not a great football player. Some for the level, because we know what level we can do. And look, some people will look at that the other way round, which is fair enough. But look, I think Son gets in my all-time 11, definitely.
Yeah.
Great call again, mate. Great call. So, Perch, we are on to your strikers. So we'll start off with your left one, if that's okay.
Left one, I'll carry it on. My strikers, I'll carry on. It's going to be Harry Kane. Of course, it's going to be Harry Kane, right?
Had to be.
Had to be Harry Kane, the club's all-time top goal scorer, the club captain. No, it wasn't. He was co-captain, weren't he, with Larry? Sorry, apologies.
Yeah.
But he was England captain. Look, Harry Kane came through the club, came through the academy. And listen, look, I think the one thing with Harry Kane is, and I think the one thing that people don't realise, Harry Kane was fantastic at Tottenham.
Yeah.
But he actually wasn't gifted as a striker. And that sounds really horrible. And I hope people understand what I mean. Harry Kane went off on loan spells left, right, and centre, and people going, this kid ain't it. I mean, and it actually took Tim Sherwood, of all people, to say, hang on, no, you're not selling him to Leicester, because Sherwood came out and said it. He said, Baldini and Levy were sat in there saying, we're going to sell Harry Kane for 600 grand to Leicester. And he's going, no, whoa, you're not selling him. He's part of my plans. And it was Tim Sherwood that kept Kane here. If I'm right in saying it was that era when we were playing in the Europa League and Kane was playing all those games in the Europa League. So we could have easily, look, I mean, we don't know what would have happened in the alternative universe if that deal would actually happen, if Kane would have got to that level, or we went and see him at Leicester ripping it up. We don't know how his career would have materialised, but I think that kind of says it all. I think it showed of a player that Kane was always that player, the player where you look at and go, that's the one I want to be at the club. He turns up first, he leaves last. He's the first on the training pitch, last on the training pitch. Harry Kane for me is one of those players that you'll have at any football club, because do you know what? He's low maintenance. Low maintenance. And I think people miss all that when they talk about all these players. I think that's why players like Thomas Tuchel was so eager to get Harry Kane in at Bayern, because they know, get him in, he's not going to sit there and demand the world. He's not going to complain. He's going to get on with business and move on. And because you get a lot of players, I think it's one of the key attributes with Harry Kane. His goal scoring was phenomenal, but came in, didn't make a fuss, got the job done, and went on and got on with his. I think, and you as I said, he's now gone to Bayern Munich and got his levels gone from here to here. By the way, I think people don't realise how great he was at Spurs. He's gone to a club that not only wins all the time, they expect winning. Winning one trophy is expected at Bayern Munich. Winning the treble is the expectation. We're looking to win the treble, the Champions League, the Pokal, and the Bundesliga. Winning one is not acceptable at Bayern Munich. Winning none is a disaster. So, and Kane was one of those that actually come out and said, you go, the difference coming to Bayern Munich is you're expected to win every single game.
Yeah.
It's not acceptable to go on a 3-game losing streak. That's when disaster crisis happen. So, look, I think Kane, class act, has to get in. I'll be shocked if Kane doesn't get in everyone's 11s that are doing this. I'll be shocked if there's some that don't. But Kane for me all day long.
2 words describe Harry Kane: ultimate professional.
Bang on.
Never in trouble.
Nope.
When have you ever seen him in nightclubs? Or
he was a family man.
He's a family man. He loves his golf. He's the ultimate professional. Looks after himself. And it's like you said, he's in Germany now, and was he the quickest to 100 goals in the Bundesliga?
Like that,
yeah. Crazy.
You're right. But the ultimate professional card is exactly how you'd look at him, because you go, he will win you games, but as I said, he's the player that your manager doesn't worry about. You don't worry about what's Harry doing on the weekend. You worry about others going, are they off partying or are they doing that? He's one you go, he's gone back to his family. He'll be in training first thing tomorrow morning.
Well, he's needed with his family. He's got, is it 5 kids?
He's got a few.
Yeah. He's building his own football team.
Sure, in more ways than one, shall we say?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Great pick, mate. Great pick again. So you got one more for your 11, Perch. Your final striker. Give it to us, mate.
My final striker. This one was hard, but I picked it because, do you know what? I think he had one of the best touches I've ever seen. Dimitar Berbatov.
Yeah.
It was I mean, there was a few, by the way. There was a few that I could have tossed into that conversation, but Berbatov, for me, again, another one that we had, and then he ended up going off to he went off to Man United, and you saw what he did at Man United as well. But when we had him, bear in mind he scored the penalty in the cup.
Yeah.
So he's won a trophy at Tottenham. Shock horror.
Yeah.
As well as Ledley King as well in my team. But yeah, no, look, can we sit there and go? When people sit there and talk about strikers now, young lad, I say this to the younger generation, and I mean it like in kids that are in their sort of late teens, early 20s. Go and watch what Dimitar Berbatov did with the football. You'd be mesmerized. I genuinely think there's no striker out there that has a touch that is as good as Dimitar Berbatov's anymore.
No. Well, he showed it in the Legends game.
I was flying, so I missed the Legends game. I missed it all, but I heard he was absolutely like phenomenal.
Well, he never scored, but he did one bit. Someone fired a ball at him, and he just plucked it out of the air. It's like he caught it. Just plucked it out of the air with his foot.
Yeah.
And then I think he put Jermaine Defoe through.
Yeah.
Just touched, killed it at his feet, put it through.
I
JD.
think he's a
Unbelievable.
Proper class act, and he did what was needed for him at the time. Listen, I think people surely have given up on the bad blood when he basically refused to play. But let's be fair with it. He wanted out because he wanted to progress his career. And let's be fair with it. He went to Man United in one of Man United's most successful eras where they were winning every single season. And he had that amazing partnership with Rooney. Chicharito was there. Tevez was there as well. They had they had 4 attackers, and you go, wow, what a team. Yeah.
Right then, Pert. So you've got your 11. So we just want to confirm with you. You've gone 4-4-2.
Yep.
And the team that's on the screen, you are happy with, because once that disappears, it's gone.
No, that has to be my team. That team wins league titles. That wins league titles, that team. I've made it so it's intertwined. Son and Bale can switch around. Carl Walker can bomb up. I mean, let's be fair. Kane and Berbatov in this era will go and win. They win league titles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's locked in. Lock it in.
Locked in. Gone.
Locked.
Great stuff, Pert. So there, all we'll do is we'll move on to your substitutes. You can just reel them off and your reasons rather than me asking you for everyone. And you've got 5 subs.
Of course.
Reel them off, mate, and I'll make a note of them.
Of course, my subs are in goal. My sub goalkeeper is Paul Robinson.
Yeah.
I think I was debating on who. I can't really put Vicario in now. He's not been here long enough to even consider him. I thought Paul Robinson, by the way. Paul Robinson's one, though, you put on free kicks in your own half. He probably score. He's got goals to his name. He's a goal scoring goalkeeper. So, yeah, Paul Robinson, definitely. This one got a bit hard now because I only got 5. They gave me 5. Guys, this is how harsh these boys are. 5. I wanted to get about 7 in it. So I'm going to go cover at the back. I'm going to go Danny Rose. I think, understandably, with the whole Carl Walker conversation, it allows Vertonghen if you want to play more attacking fullbacks. I thought this one through. So I thought more attacking, you can play a bit more attacking, so you can change formation if you're in game, go back 3, put Rose in it as a left wing back.
What's this changing formation stuff? We don't do that.
Oh, we don't do that anymore, but yeah.
No.
So I thought this one through. My next one was I put in another centre half. You could argue I probably have too many, but I put in another one in Michael Dawson because I genuinely want to give him a shout because I thought Dawson was one of those football players where I went when you looked at and went, he was never the greatest football player in the world, but do you know what he was good at? Doing a job. Yeah. And you know what? He wasn't one of these. When you sit nowadays, you hear about, he's good with his feet. I don't want my centre half good with his feet. I want him to be able to defend. Michael Dawson, him and Ledley King had that really, really good partnership.
Yeah.
The next one was hard because this is the hard part, and it might be a little bit controversial, but it may not be, for depending on who's listening. I wanted to put Carrick in, but I've not gone for Carrick. I've gone for Christian Eriksen.
Mm-hmm.
I thought a little bit more attacking going forward, and you've got an extra man in extra attack, more of an attacking midfielder, which I haven't really got. And you could move Modric, sorry, not Modric. So you can put Eriksen out on the left or the right if you wanted to intertwine with those guys. So I did want Carrick, and Carrick missed out, unfortunately, which might be the shock for some people. And then finally,
but let's face it, though, just one thing on Eriksen, he's still going to this day.
I think,
after all that's happened to him,
do you know what?
He's still producing for Man United.
Fair play to him. And do you know what? I expect him to go on to another job. I think he'll leave Man United probably in the summer and move on somewhere else and get another job. I think he's a very, very good. I think he's a very, very good football player. I think when he left, I think he got a lot of stick when he left, understandably. But I think the key bit for me was when he did leave. I think people realised kind of what holding on to players for too long happens to him.
Yeah.
I think we knew Eriksen didn't want to be there. He said it, didn't he? He said it after the Champions League final. And I felt that Champions League final kind of told us all where we were at. Yeah. And I felt like after that, you kind of had to offload a lot of these boys because they were so close to the big one and didn't get there. They all went off to try and go and get it from elsewhere. I think he went off to Inter Milan.
With the just going back to the Eriksen thing, though, I think the players only get stick if they leave because we know how good they were, and we don't want them to leave. You know what I mean? You know, if you're like just bang average, people are like almost sort of pushing you out the door. Yeah, you know, so it's okay. You know, but Eriksen was that damn good.
He was a brilliant football player, weren't he? He was a very, very good football player. And finally, this one was a hard one. I had one more choice. I had to be an attacker, be a striker, and I had a bit of a pool of players who to pick it, and I stuck it down to two, and I've gone for Jermaine Defoe. I could have gone Robbie Keane, but I thought Keane technically was a better football player, but Jermaine Defoe for me was a better goal scorer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He certainly knew what a goal was.
He did. Well, Defoe was brilliant. And do you know what Defoe was good at? At every single level we went to, he would score goals. It didn't matter if he was playing at Sunderland, Spurs, West Ham, Toronto. He went off to Toronto. He was scoring goals at every single level. And it was a toss-up between him and Robbie Keane. For me, I'd love a Keane in my team. I thought Keane was a better technical football player. I thought Defoe was your better goal scorer. And I think in my system, Defoe gets goals galore.
Yeah. Well, Perchy, you've done your squad, mate. It's done.
I'm saying now my team wins the league. In your world of Spurs 11s, my team wins the league. I'm confident.
Well, we'll see in the end how many of your players or squad get picked, won't we, at a later day? Yeah. So, Perchy, before you go, I've got two more questions for you.
Go for it.
The first one being, who is the captain of your team?
Oh, what a question. Let's be fair with it. How many captains have I got in my team? Oh, I think most of them could be captain, but I'm giving it Ledley King as my captain.
If you'd have said anything else, mate, that would have been wrong. I'm sorry. I know it's your choices, but if you'd have said anything else.
But I look at the players I've got there, and you could argue King, Vertonghen, Toby, Lloris, Modric, Kane, Son's captain at the moment. So there was an array of leaders. We missed leaders. There's leaders in my team. Yeah, but Ledley King's captain for me.
Yeah. Great.
Easily.
Pick. One more question, Perch, and then it's all over for you, mate. Who is your manager of your lifetime?
Oh, what a question. Manager of my lifetime. So,
this is why we don't tell you when we start. This is the two bonus questions that nobody knows about.
Yeah, I think it got... Look, I'll toss it up with two. I'll even interpret my team into this. So I think it's between Pochettino and Harry Redknapp.
I knew it was them two. You didn't even need to say.
My cards are laid on the table there. So it's between Harry and Pochettino. Look, I'm gonna go. Pochettino took us further in where we got to.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna go Harry Redknapp. And I'll tell you why. I think it was an era of football for me, which I was young enough to go, do you know, I'm loving this. This is great. He came in at a time, I think, Poch, by the way, I can expect a lot saying him. Wouldn't shock me at all. But I'm gonna go Redknapp because one, equally with my team, that's a Harry Redknapp team. He'd love the players that are there. Workers. There's some workers in that team.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Pochettino, he did do well, yes, but I think he only built on the work that Harry did. It was Harry that started it all.
Yeah, you could argue there were some managers in between, but
well, there was managers in between, but you know, Harry was the first one to sort of take us up that steady notches.
Do you know what? I think the one thing people miss with Harry Redknapp is I don't think people really appreciate the job he'd done immediately. You know, we talk about nowadays about giving managers time.
Yeah.
Redknapp in 18 months turned a team from bottom of the league to qualifying for the Champions League. This was none of that. Oh, it takes time nonsense. Nah, he went in and went, do you know what, boys? Scrap all the crap we're doing here. Let's keep it simple. You there, you there, you there, you there. Simple. Simple.
Yeah.
And when
you defend, you attack. Yeah, well, he took us from, I think he came in after 8 games, didn't he? We had 2 points. We were rock bottom of the league.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that season we finished 6th or 7th, might have been 8th.
No, I think it was 7th, if I'm right in saying. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that.
Because we didn't qualify for Europe, so we must have just missed out. So it would have been 7th or 8th, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't qualified for Europe, and then the season after, he brought in a couple more players. By the way, what people don't realise, when everyone talks about, oh, we need a rebuild, I hear that the buzzwords happen this year. Harry didn't have a rebuild. He just went in with the players and went, galvanise what we've got here, keep it simple, and we can build from that.
Yeah.
And what we'll do, I'll pick Palacios, not the fantastic name in Palacios, not the glitz and glamour, but when you go in here, I want you covering this area. Yeah. He brought in the boys from Portsmouth, didn't he? Brought in Crouch, went, you're the big guy. Defoe came in, you two play with each other. He brought in Kabul. By the way, he was a captain at Spurs. I think he gets a lot of stick, but I didn't think Kabul he wasn't a bad player at all. He did a job for what he did. And and do you know what we just did? Just galvanise. He also brought, if I'm right in saying, did he bring Gallas as well? Did he bring in Gallas?
He might have done.
I think he brought in Gallas as well.
I think it was him. Yeah.
He was. And he made Gallas captain, which at the time was a bit controversial because everyone went, hang on, he's ex-Arsenal, Chelsea. And but again, another player where he went, do you know what? No nonsense. He came in no nonsense. And Gallas, I thought again, another player that was very underrated at Tottenham, came in and went, do you know what? He had the stigma of being ex-Arsenal and ex-Chelsea, came in and went, do you know what? I'll just do my job here. I'm not blessed with pace, but I'll defend. And I think it was back then when it was simple. Football now is so complicated. You didn't see inverted crap back then. You didn't see, well, if I invert my fullbacks there, my defensive midfielders will cover the wide spaces. Nah, simple football. Get back to it.
That's fantastic, Perch.
Yeah.
Great descriptions. We've just about come to the end of this edition. I just want to say, make sure everyone gets over to Perchy, subscribe to his channel.
Link will be in the description.
Watch his content. It's good stuff. Make sure you subscribe to us at the 2 marks. Please like when you see the video, and please make sure you hit the notification bell, because this is a series and it's going to be going on for a couple of months. So make sure you get the content. Perchy, thank you so much for coming on. You're a legend, mate, Mark. Thanks for everything. And we'll see you next time.